Puck Props with 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo, presented by Sports Interaction. Game 6, bud. Like, they're probably going to win, right? Just in fashion, in Toronto fashion.
You'd like to think so, bud. To me, look, I'm wearing my Toronto Maple Leafs alumni plaque here. Okay.
Oh,
it says honor, pride, and courage. And I hope every member of the Maple Leafs gets a chance to get one of these one day. And I hope every member of the Maple Leafs plays with these 3 words tonight. And if they do, they can win. They can win, my friend. But the thing that I get nervous about here is on Monday, there was so much anger towards this team, and everybody lost faith in this group. Then they go out and get a big win, and deservingly,
We're back in.
They deserve all the credit that they're getting right now. I've never seen and now all of a sudden everyone's like, they're winning tonight. They're winning tonight. You know what happens when that happens and everybody's feeling the same way again. I don't know what to feel about tonight. One of it is because, what's the status of Austin Matthews? I almost believe that him not playing would probably give them a better chance to win because of how amazing they played without him. And you want to keep that going.
I'll get to that point too in the talking, like how it affects everybody else and how everybody has to step up because you can't rely on 34. But we'll absolutely get to that. So just the one game on the slate today. Boston, Toronto, good day to everybody there in the chat. Benji, Nick, Lucky, Luciano. What's up, gentlemen? Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you're playing. Let us know if you got any questions in the chat as we go through. Let's get right to it. CJ, you're talking with CJ, I believe, today. Home
Mike
record.
Mike
3-9. Was CJ, wasn't it?
No, Mike Johnson.
The Jays.
MJ, not
the
CJ.
Wrong Johnsons.
Too much Johnson on your mind.
Too much. Yeah, Randy Johnson. Home record, 3-9 straight up at home. Last 3 playoffs, dating back 3 years ago. 1-7 straight up at home, last 2 years. And I believe the run is what, 0-6 now?
0-6, yeah.
Talk to me.
I'm trying.
Why? Yeah. There's an advantage with last change. You have a deep team. How can you not win versus what is now 3 different opponents in that 0-6 run?
The easiest answer is, how can you win when you don't score? Right? I mean, that's the simple solution here. You can have all the line matching you want. You can have all the fans in the stands you want. You can have all the energy in the building. If your players can't score, you can't win. And look, they won last game scoring 2 goals. That's not a recipe for success in the playoffs. They always say the race to 3, right? Race to 3, you give yourself a better chance to win. Because on most nights, you expect teams to score two goals at least. So if the Maple Leafs can find a way to score 3 goals in their home building tonight, which seems like the hardest thing to do for this group. I mean, you go back to those records that you just mentioned. How many times did they score 3 or more in those games? Not very much.
I would assume not very much.
So that's, to me, when you talk about home record, it ultimately comes down to that. This team has to find a way to score more goals.
Can't go 0-7 in the playoffs at home to do. Yeah. Especially with the unit. But let's go. We're back on the Domi assist at plus 180 now. It's moved. It was, I think we got it like plus 200 in the other game.
How?
I know, right? But that's the thing.
Did you not see this guy play last game when he had a 2-on-1 twice?
The goalie
didn't look to shoot.
I look back. He finished with 3 shots in that game somehow.
How?
I don't know, but that's it. But we'll get to that absolutely too. And we're looking at this market. And Andy Francis, friend of the show, obviously mentioned he put a short out saying, like, Ivan Barbashev dropped down to the 4th line in Vegas last night. But hockey odds don't change that fast compared to football odds, right? If, like, he was referencing Darnell Mooney. Like, if he went down to wide receiver 4, there would be a massive drop in his yardage. Mm-hmm. But these guys don't move that much, especially within the opportunities that arise for Domi now. And let's assume that 34 isn't playing tonight. We'll go out on a limb and say more doubtful than probable. Is that a safe assumption? Like, we're making the assumption, and like
doubtful. I would go with doubtful.
More doubtful than probable, I think, is a safe way to say it. So this is just a guy who's not shooting, right? And then if Marner's playing on his line too, Marner took 10 shots. He only got 2 on net, but Marner looked a little more engaged offensively to be the shooter, and he will have to be because
of the playoffs,
And Bertuzzi isn't a guy that his shots are kind of in tight. You know what I mean? Like he's so I really like Domi on this line for the assist, and we'll keep going. The point is, I believe, like minus 110, but it's the assist that's going to be the probable point here. 3 shots on goal, but like you said, especially on that 2-on-1 with Bertuzzi, he was just waiting to pass it.
I know.
And that was the Bertuzzi 3rd shot on goal, which was awesome for the win.
That's true. That's true.
Just buried it right center mass. That's all I wanted. All right. Yeah. So that's what we got for Domi. And let's also add in that the guy went, 12 for 14 in the dot, and that's how he picked up the assist in the game off that the draw, right off the draw. So, I mean, if that guy's doing that, he didn't get the draws on the power play, but he might be doing the other side. I don't know if John's on one side and he's on the other side because there were only 2 faceoffs, but I'm not too sure what happens there. But happy with the 5-on-5 love in the dot. Let's go. Low scoring game, right? We're assuming that we're on the same page, right?
Yep.
The total's 5.5, even money to the under. But I like the Bruins team total under 2.5 plus 120 a little better.
Yeah.
Low scoring game projected. They've kept Pasternak in check. We saw Marchand go pointless for the first game in the series, and he got 4 penalty minutes, starting to lose it a bit. Yeah. He was calm and collected in the early games, and now we're seeing a little more agitation in his game. Wall looks solid, and something that's kind of lost in everything, over the last 2 years in the playoffs, Wall's played 6 games, made 3 starts, 194 goals against, 292 save percentage. 2 questions to you. And it goes back to the question with Matthews out, how does this team play? What does losing your best offensive player do to a team collectively, like we saw in Game 5? And 2, did Keefe start the wrong goalie in the series?
No. Keefe did not start the wrong goalie in the series. Let me make that clear, because nothing in Wall's game coming into the playoffs.
No. Both were shaky.
Made you believe that he was the guy that earned the start. Samsonov earned the start to be in this playoffs. And look, I don't think the Maple Leafs are down in this series because of goaltending. I mean, aside from the one bad goal, and in a series this tight, you can't afford to give up a bad goal. Aside from the one bad goal he gave up to Frederick in Game 3, which clearly changed the momentum of that game because they had a 1-0 lead when he let that goal from Frederick go in, and they tied it, and then a couple minutes later, they take a penalty and they start the third period. They're not losing this series because of goaltending. If anything, again, I'm going to reiterate, they're losing this series because they haven't been able to score enough goals, and their special teams has been horrible. Like, think about if their special teams was 10% better. Just 10%.
Yeah.
We could be talking about a team in Toronto that could be playing a series closing game tonight instead of hanging on for their playoff lives. So I don't think they made the wrong decision. They made the right decision to go to Wall because they had nothing to lose, and you're looking for that to create a spark, and that's exactly what it did. I mean, the game he played was incredible, and you hope he can follow that up in today's game and maybe in the next one if they get to that. What was the other question you asked? What is it?
No, you answered that quickly. Wrong goalie. Oh, and do teams change how they play because they're missing big players? Like,
I think they do.
The aggregate of everybody stepping up their game 2-3% goes a long way.
I think not only do the players change, but the coaches change, right? The coaches change because now maybe they're less worried about matchups, and they just got to say, okay, well, we got to go with. And for a player, you got players that are being put in situations where they're being asked to step up. And hockey is the greatest example of finding success without your best players because it's more of a team sport than it is an individual sport. Yeah, you need star players. Yeah, you need guys to have great individual performances, but you can still find a way to have success playing as a team. And I think that was the best example the other night where You just saw other guys like Max Domi to go into the center ice position and play as dominant as he did was incredible.
Yeah.
And that to me, when other players on the bench are seeing him do that, they're saying to themselves, "Oh man, if this guy's doing it, time for me to raise my game too." And you talk about the struggles of Pasternak. The Maple Leafs have done a really good job playing defense in this series.
Again, and let's make a point of like how well they played defensively without one of their best, without their best defensive center.
Yeah, and this team historically has played well without their star players in the lineup. So
yeah,
I'm not surprised. And again, they just have to find another level to score goals. If they can find a way to get to 3 goals, if I told you today the Maple Leafs scored 3 goals, what do you think the result would be?
Exactly. It's been 80% win.
Yeah. Right? So it's the way I handicap it.
There you go. Last note on Bruins team total under 2.5 at plus 120.
I think
Wall, Conn Smythe.
Well, yeah, I think this is a couple
140 to 1.
If the Maple Leafs can stay out of the box, Boston has had the advantage in this series of scoring goals because their power play has been clicking.
Yeah.
5-on-5, the Boston Bruins haven't really contributed much because
guess what? They're not a deep team and have a lot of good names out there.
And that's what I mean. So like now you got Wall, you got the question marks that they're starting to ask themselves because of the situation that played out last year with the choke job. Wall and special teams. This is great value you're getting on Boston.
On the other 2.5, yeah, plus 120. This could be another one. This could be 0-0 after 20 minutes. This could be, 1-1 after 40 minutes again. It's going to be a tight one. There won't be a lot of ice. And it's just what Toronto's bringing to the ice. They can't afford to. So defensively, they have to keep this game tight. And as we see, Boston isn't a team that runs up the score either. So Boston's a team that gets up 1 and can camp 2, unless the special teams. But like you said, need some special teams luck with that. Jumping over to the third play. Third of 3. Let's get to the chat quickly. Someone says double up here. Domi over assists and over points. Can't do it. It will be the same price. 1 is 1. Doesn't matter. The Bertuzzi shots. Parker brings up a good point. Love Bertuzzi shots, but we've just been priced out of it now. I think we were getting at plus 120. It's now down to like minus 125. And in this game, I just don't see a ton of shooting volume. So I'm going to look for a better price. And I think in that price, I'm going back to Marner because I think we're getting a deal here. So Marner over 2.5 shots on goal, even money. Marner changes. No 34 in this line, and this line changes dramatically. With Domi, as we said, pass first. Marner's going to be example of that. Bertuzzi isn't. He had 4 or 5 in the game 1, but he's not a guy that's going to get 5 shots. And Marner, like I said, 10 shot attempts in the last game, which was 1 short of the team lead with Nylander, who had 11. He got just 2 on net. But this is a guy who's going to be playing 22 minutes, getting the offensive draws. If you're looking for shots, I think Marner's maybe a chance to get here at the 3 compared to some of the other guys. Not taking Tavares at 3 or Tavares at over 3.5.
Yeah, I just think Tavares too, like his role has changed too. Like he's been asked to absorb a lot of the defensive responsibilities too, right?
Yeah.
I think.
What about JT blowing by with speed on the outside there?
He's got a little left in him. He reminded everybody that he's still got a little left in him.
That was Grzelcyk too, who they brought up that game, right? JT put on the Jets, and what happened? Yeah. That's so funny. But no, I do like that line. So a lot of this play, if producer Brady put up the what are we going to call that? The tracker. There it is down there at the bottom.
There it is.
Everything there.
There just it is. I see a lot of plus. I love it.
Exactly. And in the spot, it's going to be a low-scoring game. Not projecting a ton offensively, so I wouldn't be out there throwing together a Thursday night SGP with a bunch of goals and a bunch of shots. Stay away from the Domi over shots because he had 3, but if you watch the game, the guy is not looking to shoot. Stay away from his goals, certainly, too. And if you're getting something, look for plus money if you're going points because, like we said, 2-2. Last game's game script, is there any reason not to believe that that's kind of where the game goes in the same spot?
No.
right? Like we talked about the Dallas game. The Dallas game had potential to go, but even they shut it down 2-2 after the first period, right?
Yeah.
The Dallas Vegas game where we're talking about the 3-3. Look how easy that game got clamped down quickly when things get out of control. So even early goals in this game, look for it to settle down. The under 5.5 looks good at even money, but I think the right side is Boston team total under 2.5. Maybe that's just me not wanting to bet Toronto team total under 2.5 in that situation. But yeah, I think at plus money, even that looks good. Anything to add there? The chat's going. Just happy to see.
I mean, it's one game tonight, right? It's hard. It's hard to find value in a game where you don't expect much goals to be scored, right?
No, you're right.
Maybe block shots. I don't know. Like
it's tough to like. It's there's just not a lot of. Like you've watched a lot of playoff hockey so far in the first round. This series just looks a lot different than the other games. Like that Vegas Dallas. Like I think there were only like 55 shots or whatever, but like there were chances. Like guys are blocking shots. There's ozone possessions. There's low to high, and the Ds are taking shots. You're not seeing that so much in this series. This series is a little sloppier, but that's where we are today with those three plays. The Domi assist plus 180. The Boston team total under 2.5 plus 120, and the Marner over 2.5 shots on goal at even money. That's what we got. Everything coming to you via Sports Interaction. Let's leave it at that. We come back tomorrow. Might be a different time. We'll keep everybody posted. It might be 11 o'clock go. See how things go. We're trying to figure out some times, but we've got to figure it out. The Leafs got to figure it out tonight in Toronto. I just want a game. I want a Saturday night game 7, bud. You know what I mean? I want that feeling.
Yeah.
I want that.
Who doesn't want that? I mean, Saturday night, why wouldn't you want that? And then you're like, okay, you'll take whatever result comes from it, but at least it's one of those high intensity type of games.
Went out for drinks for Saturday last week. Guy be sitting beside me, a Boston hat, didn't like it. Went to the Jays game on Sunday. Ooh. Section 124. He was my usher.
No way.
Yeah, and he's from Oakville, and I was in Georgetown, and he works at the.
No way. That's hilarious.
That is hilarious. But what's not hilarious are these plays. Let's go. Big bounce back today. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Carlo Colaiacovo. Big ups to the boys there in the chat. Lead us out, pal.
Hey, let's come back tomorrow in a winning mood. Let's do it. Ciao.